Parimal Kumar, other distinguished members who are in the audience. Most of them look very, very familiar. Good morning to all of you. And yeah. So today we'll be talking about drones and counter-UAS systems. Throughout history, if we look, we have witnessed evolutionary as well as revolutionary changes in warfare, and that has transformed the kind of battles we fight. Change is either evolutionary, something like Charles Darwin spoke about, natural selection. Gradually, it happens over a period of time, and then there is a revolutionary change, which happens all of a sudden, something like an ice age which comes in. People who are not adapted to it or not used to that particular environment, they go kind of extinct. So evolutionary changes have made weapons and war fighting equipment, smaller, faster, lighter, more efficient, more affordable. Long back, we had rifles which were much weighty, but they were large length. We have now shorter, lighter rifles, longer ranges. They're much more cheaper. We can fight at night. We can fire them at night. Similarly, for tanks and aircrafts, we made them affordable. They're lighter, yet they maneuver very fast and they afford more protection. It's similar for even, say, explosives. We started with gun cotton, then probably TNT, RDX, today HMX. So in that same weight, you can get more explosive. These are kind of evolutionary changes. They happen gradually over a period of time. On the other hand, revolutionary changes, they impact the very character of war, necessitating organizational, doctrinal, functional, structural kind of changes. And they need new ideas, innovations, imagination, and new kind of thoughts. So advances in, say, this all has happened, and this has introduced those three revolutions in military affairs, which I've been talking about in large number of seminars and talks. And first, as generally speak about it, the first revolution in military affairs due to advances in surface mobility and aerial mobility, and that changes the way we used to fight. And second revolution in military affairs was basically due to advances in communication and ICT technologies, which again, network people, you could take faster decisions. And we always say that we are at the cusp of a third revolution, which is being introduced for a data-centric kind of warfare, because we advances in artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, and all that. So these are kind of revolutionary changes. So when we talk about drones, what do you think these are? They are introducing kind of evolutionary change or a revolutionary change in warfare. I think their development is kind of evolutionary, but their employment has been very, very revolutionary as far as warfare is concerned. Initially, the development was for small applications, limited ranges, restricted payloads. As the realization of the scope of deployment, utility, and success increased, armies started using drones in a revolutionary kind of manner. And you've seen this in a number of wars which are being fought by us. Their utility grew many folds, from being simple means of transportation, photography, or videography, to becoming cost-effective force multipliers for modern warfare. Their unbridled and rampant use in modern-day conflicts proved not only their utility, but also their ubiquity. They augment manned systems and enable militaries to conduct simultaneous operations across multiple domains with fewer resources and minimal danger to human lives. If you see a human being, means our cognitive thinking, we have always looked or preferred things which are, you could say faster, bigger, more sophisticated, more costly. We think that these are systems which are far better. Even if you look at the motto of Olympics, which says, Citius, Elitius, Fortius, which means faster, higher, stronger. It's in our DNA, it's in a system that we think that this is better. But look at a drone, which is the antithesis of what we are thinking. It's smaller, unimaginative, very, very clumsy. Most of them, the drones are not even aerodynamic. They're cheaper, they make a lot of noise, and yet they're effective, and they're unsophisticated, inexpensive. I think this is their USP, that it is beyond the conventional thinking. It beats conventional thinking. So this, I think, is very, very important. So let's look at unarmed aerial vehicles. That includes drones from a factual and conceptual viewpoint. Factually, drones are a proven reality. We know that their widespread utility in recent conflicts demonstrate how drones can shift tactical balance disproportionately to their size or price. Factual because the government of applications of US in modern warfare is challenging traditional ideas about air superiority, ground maneuver, and force protection. Swarm tactics, autonomous and intelligent operations, MUMT, asymmetric drone warfare are making large platforms vulnerable and driving militaries to rethink the conceptual aspects of air doctrines, development of a counter US system, and adaptive rules of engagement. So in the conceptual realm, if you look, we always thought that airspace was one. It was kind of indivisible. It's there where manned aircrafts traditionally dominated battlefield. So this used to be there till about 18 kilometers or 60,000 feet or so. But the introduction of, say, ballistic missiles, hypersonic weapons, that is cruise as well as glide, has opened up that upper space. And we always say that today, airspace also includes near space. So that's one way. But you look at the bottom side of it, that the lower space, which is below 50 meters. Now this is getting congested, and this requires a special kind of a treatment and understanding, because this is where most of the combat is taking place when we talk about these drones. So the need of the hour is to develop capabilities to harness this lower airspace gainfully through utilization of force multipliers like US systems, and at the same time dissuade the adversary from doing so by developing a robust counter US systems. During Operation Sindoor on 10th of May, Pakistan had used unarmed drones and loiter munitions. None of them actually could inflict any damage to Indian military or civilian infrastructure. Most of them were utilized through a combination of kinetic and non-kinetic means. And some of them, in fact, could be recovered in almost intact conditions. We need to focus on combat in future in this particular lower airspace. The ability to use LEO satellites for control of USS, enhance communication and navigation services, and increase the range and functionality of drones manifold. Conventional drones that work on principles of line of sight data link are limited in range and capabilities. Let's now talk about counter US system and a counter US grid. As drones and autonomous systems become the choice of weapons for targeting, developing counter US systems to protect our critical infrastructure and military assets assumes importance. Counter US operations are extremely complicated. Detecting, identifying, tracking, and neutralizing drones involves creation of a counter US grid that must be capable of integrating and networking multiple technologies such as radars, sensors, jammers, as well as directed energy weapons. The effectiveness of this architecture will hinge upon seamless coordination and integration across air defense networks, civil aviation, regulators, and local command and control structures to avoid gaps, fratricide, and operational blind spots. The modern counter-US system grid is not only about technology, it's about fusing disparate assets into a resilient, adaptive ecosystem that can dynamically respond to the evolving aerial threats in a contested lower airspace. Let's switch on to Atmanirbharta for both this drones and counter-US systems. Operation Sindoor has showed us as to why indigenously developed counter-US systems and counter-US systems built for our terrain and our needs are crucial. We cannot rely on imported niche technology that are crucial for our offensive and defensive missions. We must invent and build and safeguard ourselves. Dependence on foreign technologies weakens our preparedness, limits our ability to scale up production, results in shortfall of critical spares for sustenance and round-the-clock availability. Another important aspect of this capability is that foreign weapons and sensors, their capabilities are known to all, and adversaries can predict our tactics and doctrinal concepts based on the capabilities of this particular system. So you may have today on very modern aircrafts, air-to-air missiles, so say ranges are known to us, so are they known to the adversaries also. And the moment if they are imported, then obviously the adversary can keep out of those ranges and develop tactics accordingly. So this becomes a severe limitation. But if you are developing systems which you own, their capabilities are not known to the enemy, and that may add an element of surprise when actually you're in face-to-face in the initial encounters at least. So when we design, make, and innovate at home, we secure our secrets, cut costs, retain the initiative to scale up production, and maintain around-the-clock readiness. Our Honorable Raksha Mantri has rightly said that Atmanirbharta is not a choice, it's part of a duty. In warfare, you cannot win with yesterday's weapon systems in today's warfare. In fact, today's warfare has to be fought with tomorrow's technology. And happy to note that this workshop is deliberating on crucial issues for Indigenization and improvement in existing US and counter-US capabilities. I would like all of you during the day's deliberation to focus on a few things. First, I think, is increased impetus on defense R&D to deliver next generation of solutions. Then encourage modular, upgradable design so that new technology payloads, AI modules, EW technology can be integrated quickly. Develop standardized open architecture for plug-and-play modules for effective counter-US, both for kinetic and non-kinetic systems. Fifthly, create counter-US system testbed for startups and DRDO. Sixthly, invest in secure sovereign software stacks for UAV control and anti-jamming. Seventhly, we could focus on stealth and next generation of UAVs. And last and not the least, develop a long-term vision roadmap for SON drones, drone carriers, MUMT, direct energy weapons, artificial intelligence-powered counter-US systems, etc. And so towards the conclusion, I would say that this one-day workshop being organized by the Office of Scientific Advisor to CISC in collaboration with CENJOS is a much-needed steps towards evolving strategy to make India self-reliant and future-ready in counter-US and US technologies. I'm also very happy to note that the exhibition is being organized on the sidelines of this workshop to provide an opportunity to the industries to showcase their products to the users. I wish all the participant speakers, organizers, the very best for an unprecedented success for the workshop come exhibition, and look forward to a feedback to institute further and necessary improvements. Then I will have a small little submission. This third particular session, I believe, can be renamed as Challenges in Indigenization of UAV Components rather than talking about problems envisaged by users to the use of imported components in the UAV. That would not be a correct kind of